Hello and welcome to special stage for round one of the Britpart all-wheel drive Safari Championship. We're here in Wales where we've been blessed with sunshine for once, and Chris Bird is here to defend his title. Let's head over to the stages for all of the action. Round one of the championship takes place at Walters Arena in Wales. The Watts Truck and Van Cardiff sponsored event, attracting the regulars and new faces alike. Defending the win from last year, it would be much of the same here at round one this weekend for Chris and Jonathan Bird. The pair lead the way in the event overall, a lead of 30 seconds at this stage. Sadly for Andy DiGiulio, it would be game over on the first run of the day, engine failures stopping any chances of a result this weekend. Andy, you haven't had the best of luck today, have you? What happened?
No, engine failure early on in lap one, so yeah, gutted, because brilliant course, lovely weather, and was hoping to take the fight to Chris today, but yeah, not to be.
Chris did admit that he was pushing on in the first stage because he knew you would be up there fighting it out with him today.
Well, there seems to be a battle who can get the fastest laps from last season, and it's gone into this one, and it always, if you can get an early advantage, it's a mind game, and I thought, yeah, I'm really going to have a go. I walked the course like yesterday, tried to memorise it, and thought I'm going to have a real go. And to be honest, the car was going brilliant and handling well on them early corners, and then bang, we're out.
Is it something that you can get fixed for the next round?
Yeah, I hope so. It looks like a rocker bolt has snapped, and the rockers, so we've lost a cylinder. I haven't got the parts to fix it, otherwise I'd have a go now. So it's back to the workshops. A bit of a rebuild, and we're back out of the next one.
Mark Hone starts the day with some good pace, lying second at this stage and leading the way in Class 7i. 30 seconds behind Bird and with a good advantage in that place themselves. Plenty of work on the car over winter was paying off for Jason Elphick. A great start to the event with third place now and second in the class behind Hones. The times were a little closer as you moved down from the podium places, with Oliver Arnold lying in fourth at this stage, just 20 seconds back from Elphick, and lying second in the 8i class behind event leader Bird. Bruce Tigwell lies a further 12 seconds back from Arnold in both the class and the overall positions. A good run so far here at round one. Justin and Caroline Brooks were one of the new faces joining us this season. It was going well for the pair in 6th and leading the way in the 6i class. James and Tom King spent the winter sorting the suspension out on the car. A complete overhaul was done and seemed to have transformed the car. This weekend was going well with 7th place at this stage. hand, didn't have anything to do over the winter other than a good service. The car left the end of the season performing well, and that wasn't something they wanted to change. 8th place for now for the pair. And it would be a further 24 seconds back to Henry Kruge, who was lying in 9th overall at this stage and just behind Tennant in the 8i class as well. And rounding out the top 10 after run 3 was Martin Hounsell, just 7 seconds behind Krudge for the class and overall place. In a few places outside the top 10, it would be 3rd in the 7i class for Tom Rimmel, as he lies in 12th overall. It would be the Class 8 lead for Rob Ball here at round 1. The teething problems from last year with the engine seemed to be put to rest, and things were looking good at this early stage. Andy Skelly ends the morning's first run in 14th overall, taking 2nd in the 6i class at this stage. A few places overall behind the flying Justin Brooks up in 6th overall. Jason Nicol was back again after his 7th place in the championship last year, this time the co-driver seat being shared between regular navigator Kirsty Vandal and Jason's son Harry. Out for his first event this weekend, they lie in 15th overall and 2nd in Class 8. Just one puncher in this first loop, slowing them a little. Lee Newcomb leads the way in Class 2, but only because he was the only one in that class. His battle this weekend would be the overall one, and things were quite close in that, lying in 16th overall now. Carl Johnson rounds out the top of Class 8 with 3rd in the class, as well as lying 17th overall, just 14 seconds behind Newcomb. Lee Potter would be another lone class runner, taking up the only place in Class 7 and lying 21st overall. And thankfully for Steve Llewellyn, he would be the only one in Class 4. Otherwise, he would have had no chance of holding the lead after this accident on the 2nd run of the day. Luckily, they get away with mostly just damaged pride. So with 3 runs down, the results look like this. Chris Byrne manages to take the early lead, with Mark Holmes just managing to keep him at bay for now. But things can and do change very easily. Obviously, you had a great season last year. How have you found the first round so far?
It's been quite challenging. We've had a few little electrical gremlins, a punch on the first lap, which was lucky because I think we'd have been off if we didn't hit the rock that straightened us up. And we've had a couple of punches and it's been entertaining. But I'm lucky because Andy's had a problem. Otherwise, I'd be in second quite spectacularly at the moment.
You really look like you're going for it out there. How are you finding the course?
It's getting a bit rougher now. We've had a couple of punches, but it's brilliant sight and a brilliant course. Clerk of the course done a fantastic job.
So at the halfway point of the day, last year's champion Chris Bird is still leading the event, but there's plenty more stages to go this afternoon. Join us after the break. On to the next few runs, and there wouldn't be any change in the lead. Chris and Jonathan Bird continue to lead the way and edge out a bigger advantage in that place. With their main rival De Giulio out of the fight, it would just be about keeping hold of the lead and making sure nobody could close the gap on them. Mark Holmes would still be the one to hold that second place, keeping Bird in his sights, but it was going to take a mistake or a problem from the leader for any advance of the results. For now though, he would be happy to sit and wait and hold on to that second place and lead in the 7i class. Change in third now as we see Oliver Arnold jump up and take that place, the car performing well this weekend, as was the driver. And the advantage in that final podium place was 28 seconds now, lying second in the 8i class. And for Jason Elphick, it would still be second in the 7i class, but the move up the results for Arnold of course means a move down for Elphick. 4th place still a great position to be in as he continues to familiarise himself with the car again this season. No change for Bruce Tigwell in 5th. The gap to those ahead was around a minute now, but the one behind was a little closer. He remains 3rd in the 8i class as well. James and Tom King gain a place in these runs to lie in 6th at the end of run 6. Things with the car were going well now, and the changes over the winter were really paying off here at round 1. James and Philippa Tennant were still going well, moving up a place into 7th, not bad for a car that wasn't really built to cope with a fast course like this weekend. They lie just 8 seconds back from King ahead. Unfortunately for Justin and Caroline Brooks, it would be a slip down to 8th. Still good going for the first time out in the championship, and indeed the newly finished car. The pair continue to lead the way in the 6i class. Martin Hounsell gains a place in this loop, moving up to 9th place now. He has a good lead in that place of over a minute, and was now just 6 seconds behind Brooks ahead. And rounding out the top 10 now would be Tom Rimmel, moving up 2 places in these runs and getting himself inside the top 10 overall. His 3rd in class 7i remains unchanged though at this stage. Rob Bull was another one to gain a few places overall, moving up to lie in 11th, just over a minute outside the top 10, but remaining in the lead of class 8. Andy Skelly gains a few places to move up to 12th. The change in the overall times not affecting the class, remaining 2nd in the 6i class behind Brooks. However, with Brooks dropping down the results a little, the gap had closed from 8 places to 4 places between the pair overall. Another puncher on the day's 5th run would slow Jason Nicol a little once again, but that wasn't making a difference to the results too much. Remaining 2nd in class 8, and with a few places vacated above him, it would be a move up to 13th overall. Sole Class 2 runner Lee Newcomb ensures he's keeping things clean and tidy to continue that until the end. Just a few more runs remaining to keep hold of that class win, currently lying in 14th overall. And lying in 15th overall was Andy Kent, moving up the results 5 places overall, and steps up to take 3rd in class 8, although the gap to those ahead was still a substantial one. Steve Llewellyn continues like there was nothing wrong after his Run 2 accident, continuing to lead the way in class 4 of course, being the only crew in that class. The times were looking good though on his clean runs. So 2/3 of the way through the event now, and there are small changes at the top, but the battle for 1st and 2nd remains the same. So on to the final results, and it would be 16th overall for Carl Johnson, taking 3rd in class 8 at the end of the event. Sadly for Justin and Caroline Brooks, Their good run this weekend would come to an end when the ball joint on the car failed on the penultimate run. The car was going to need a bit more development, but there was some promising pace from driver and car this weekend. Unfortunately, there would also be a drop down the results for previous second place Mark Hones. A couple of maximum times on the final stages mean that it's 14th overall, and he slips down to take second in the 7i class. No change for Jason Nicol over the last runs of the day, as he ends the event with 13th overall and takes second in class points in the Class 8 battle here at round 1. Steve Llewellyn bounces back from the Run 2 accident with no further problems. Ending the event in 12th, the accident lost him around 10 minutes, but even without that, 12th was about as high as he could have reached. So overall, it was a good result here this weekend. Lee Newcomb only had to finish to get that class win, so it would be maximum points in Class 2 for him, ending the day just outside the top 10 overall in 11th. On to the top 10 then, and it would be Andy Skelly that rounds out the top 10 of the results, taking the win in the 6i class here at round 1 after the loss of Justin Brooks from that class lead. Rob Ball has a good clean run to end the event in 9th place overall. A good result, good enough to take the Class 8 win and set up the start of the new season as well. Mark Hones drops from the top of the results, meaning plenty of change in the class battle. And for Tom Rimmel, it would be a great end to the event, coming out with the Class 7i win. Times in the rest of the places were a little closer, with Martin Halslow coming out at the end of the event with 7th overall. A good result this weekend after gaining some places in the final runs of the day. For James and Philippa Tennant, it would be 6th. A great result considering the car was more suited to the slower off-road courses and not the faster courses here this weekend. A consistent run all day was rewarded with 3rd in the 8i class too. No change for Bruce Tigwell. He remains in that 5th overall position to the finish, just 21 seconds behind the crew ahead. A close battle all day. He also takes 2nd in the 8i class. And that crew ahead would be James and Tom King. If this weekend's results were anything to go by, then this season should be a good one for the pair. Reliability and consistency were coming together nicely, and the pair finish in 4th overall and take the points in the 8i class. From 2nd place meant that Jason Elphick could step back up to that final step on the podium that he held this morning, within 14 seconds of that 2nd place and keeping them in his sights all day. A great start to the season and one of his best results so far. Just pipping Elphick to that 2nd place after taking the position earlier in the day would be Oliver Arnold. He certainly didn't have it easy with Elphick still breathing down his neck all afternoon. He takes 2nd by just 14 seconds. But taking the win and able to walk away with a substantial lead were Chris and Jonathan Bird. The pair kept hold of their earlier built-up advantage and extended it further, taking the win by almost 5 minutes. So before we chat to the winner at the end of round 1 here at Walters Arena, here's a reminder of the overall results and that victory for defending champion Bird. Congratulations, I know you didn't have the easiest start to the morning, but a pretty great start to the season.
Yeah, we just, we had some issues this morning, electronic issues, which we got to the bottom of. We have redone a lot to the car, so I was expecting 7, but not as many as we had. So yeah, it's been a good day. Shame with Andy though, that's the downside, because it would have been far more competitive if he'd stayed in. But
of course, and you were saying that although it's beautiful and sunny today and that's nice, these still aren't the most ideal conditions for you guys.
You always got a bit of dust. So if you catch somebody, then you catch the dust. So there's no ideal conditions really, unless you go on circuit racing. But it's been pleasant. It's pleasant to be in Walters with the sun on your shoulders. You've been here on a few occasions where you're hiding from the rain, so you can't complain really, truthfully.
And is Andy the one you're going to be watching out for all season?
It'll be Andy and Rick. When Rick will probably do a few later in the season. They're like everybody, you can win. You've got to finish. You've got to be in it to win it. And if you don't finish and you have a DNF, then other people can come along. But on pace, on paper, it would be Andy and Rick.
So that's it for round 1 of the Britpart All-Wheel Drive Safari Championship, and what a great start to Chris Bird's 2015 season, hoping to take the championship once again. Join us for all of the action from round 2 next. Round 2 of the championship remains in Wales for the AJD, Land Rovers and ProLink suspension sponsored event. After the disappointment of retiring early on round 1, it would be the early lead for event sponsor Andy DiGiulio. Not the fastest on the first run, but fastest times on the next couple would be enough to give him an 8-second lead at this early stage. Certainly better than run 1 retirement of the opening round. Round 1 winners Chris and Jonathan Baird were in fact the fastest on the opening run, but only by 2 seconds. But unfortunately, a puncture on the third run would set them back. Damage from the tyre started out cosmetic, but of course a puncture means a lower car, and a rock caught the underside of the car, bending the rear wishbone. Fresh from his second place at round 1, Oliver Arnold would be back to the pace straight away here at round 2. Settling into 3rd overall and indeed 3rd in the 8i class. The gap to Baird ahead was growing though, up to just over a minute again at this stage. But it would all be about being in a position to pick up the place should anything happen ahead. Bruce Tigwell was another one coming off the back of a good result at round 1. A steady start to the day put him a little off the pace of those on the podium places. But by the 3rd run of the morning, the times were looking better. 4th was a good platform for a push on the next few runs. Things hadn't gone so well for Henry Crudge at round 1. Retirement midway through the event meant that he needed a good finish this weekend to get some points on the board. It was going well so far with 5th overall, but as we saw, anything can happen. Jason Elphick wasn't quite reaching the podium places he had held at round 1. This weekend starts off with 6th place, still good and going well inside the top 10 and more importantly leading the 7i class at this stage. Tom Rimmel was so far going 1 place better at round 2, improving on the 8th place finish last time out with 7th place at this early stage. Things were close with only 3 seconds separating him from Elphick ahead for the overall and the 7i class battle. For Rob Ball it would be 8th place and like Rimmel ahead, 1 place higher than he finished last time out. But there was a little gap between the positions at this stage. It wouldn't make a difference to the class though, as he leads class 8 with a small margin now. That small margin would be over Jason Nicol, just 9 seconds separating the Class 8 runners. Nicol back out once again with previous co-driver Kirsty Randall and son Harry sharing the role this weekend. James and Philippa Tennant come to round 2 with the confidence in themselves and the car after their 6th place finish last time out. They would be looking to repeat that here this weekend or even do better. But for now it was a steady start as they round out the top 10. A few class positions outside the top 10 and there will be no drama this time out for Steve Llewellyn. He keeps the car on its wheels and ends the day's opening run with 12th overall and the sole runner in class 4 once again. With Ball and Nicol up ahead fighting for the lead in class 8, it will be up to Rod Parker to round out the podium places at this stage in the class. 3rd in the class and 14th overall, but quite a way off the class leaders. Just a couple of crews in Class 7 this weekend and it would be Matthew Rowland who comes out on top of that battle in the early runs. "17th overall and mixing with the other classes too for Simon Crowe. It would be a steady run, with just himself in the 6i class. A maximum on run 2 wasn't helping the overall times, but at least he was still going. And for John Solis, it would be a maximum that damages his class fight. 2nd in Class 7 at this stage and lying 20th overall. Without the maximum, the times in the class could have been much closer. Unfortunately, the early runs would see us lose James and Tom King. Run 3 to be exact, as the pair retire when the brake disc shatters on the car and causing further damage to the front corner of the car. complete here at round 2. It's a close battle at the top for De Giulio and Baird, but there are still plenty more runs to go. On to the next few runs, and the biggest change would be in the lead, as we lose event leader Andy De Giulio. A puncture on the stage would eventually rip the bodywork from the side of the car, and worse still would cause damage to the fuel tank, meaning the car wouldn't and indeed shouldn't be driven any further. What this means, of course, is that for round 1 winners Chris and Jonathan Baird, it would be the lead now, but that wasn't easy. Damage from the previous run's puncture themselves would continue to leave its legacy, the handling on the car meaning they crawled through the 4th run, but seeing bits of the stricken yellow Milner ahead would ease the pressure a little. So all of this drama, of course, left Oliver Arnold in the same position as round 1, lying 2nd overall and waiting to capitalise on any misfortunes for Baird ahead. The gap was a big one and wasn't going to be made up on the run times, so keep the pace is all he could do for now. This means a promotion for everyone behind too, with Bruce Tigwell stepping up to take 3rd for now. The gaps between all of the front runners were getting bigger, but that wasn't going to stop anyone trying as they go into the final few runs of the event. Henry Crudge was certainly putting the round 1 problems behind him and had moved up to 4th place this weekend. But unfortunately there was almost 2 minutes separating them from the podium places up ahead. Tom Rimmel was having a good weekend, moving up the results as the day goes on. 5th overall at this stage and leading the way in Class 7i. Reliability was looking good this season for Rob Ball, continuing to lead the way in Class 8 by a good margin and remain well inside the top 10 in 6th place overall. James and Philippa Tennant suffer a small setback when they get a puncture on run 5. They drop over a minute trying to nurse the car to the end of the stage without causing any damage, which of course is the priority. They lie in 7th at the end of run 6, a little off the pace after repairing the car in service, but still going well. Tim Tennant makes a good move up the results over these runs and takes 8th now, moving inside the top 10 on this afternoon's runs after setting some good times. No change in the class or overall position for Jason Nicol, remaining 2nd in Class 8 and in 9th place on the overall standings. A puncture on the 4th run of the day wouldn't cause too much time loss, but it would ruin a brand new tyre. Steve Llewellyn was showing some good potential, moving up to round out the top 10 at this stage, and of course being the only one in Class 4, the points in that place were safe too, if he could finish. In the classes just outside the top 10 in 11th overall, it would be Rod Parker, who continues to round out the top of Class 8, 3rd in the class behind the leaders inside the top 10. Sadly for Jason Elphick, it would be a drop down the overall results in 14th. A maximum time on the 6th run of the day put him well down the order from his original 6th place, and of course drops him down from the class lead to 2nd in the class. So at the end of run 6, it's all changed at the top, with Chris Baird taking over the lead and only a few runs away from making it 2 wins from 2 rounds. So that's it for this morning, but stay right there because we'll be back with all of the action from this afternoon stages. On to the final runs then, and a look at the class and overall finishes. It would be an 11th place finish for Steve Llewellyn, Sadly, a few maximum times in the later stages mean his times suffer, but it's a great finish and a Class 4 victory for round 2. Simon Crowe rounds out the top 10 at the end of the event, the only runner in Class 6I, so it was never really in doubt. He finishes the day with too big a deficit to anyone ahead, but the points will be a welcome start to his season. The times in Class 8 don't really get any closer, but the positions do. No longer separated from the rest of the class, it would be 9th overall for Rod Parker at the end of the event, taking the 3rd in class that he held all day. It would be 1 place higher for 2nd in that class Jason Nicol, only 1 place higher but 7 minutes ahead on the times at the end of round 2. But for Rob Ball it would be the class lead. A puncture during the day was about the only problem he had, and he takes the win by a reasonably comfortable margin of 2 minutes, although that puncture could have taken a lot more of a toll on this result. Tim Tennant has a much better end to the event than his disastrous round 1, managing to put in some good times and finish the event in 6th overall, taking 3rd in the 8i class with him too. For James and Philippa Tennant, it would be 1 better than last time out. They end the event in 5th overall and take 2nd in the 8i class. If it hadn't have been for the earlier puncture, then the pair could have well been challenging for 4th.
Better. Our line through here, dropping down to the left slightly, following it through, and then out to high. Bringing it round, dropping down into 90 right, dropping down into 90 right. Bring it in, and away up the hill. Bring it back across to make the corner less severe. Slight bump, then into slight left. Heading up, 45 right approaching, 45 right. Then approaching 45 left to bumhole, 45 left caution. 45 left, your line. Heading round, throwing it in, 45 right into 45 left, watch the slide. Bring it through, slight left, and then 45 right approaching, caution gateway, 45 right, heading right, finish, woo, that was good, 7:43.
But in that 4th place at the end of the event would be Henry Kruge. No change of the last few runs as he takes that place as well as the Class 8i win. The gap to 3rd was quite a large one, so he could be confident that there was nothing more he could have done this weekend. Now on to those podium places then, and things were a lot closer in the battle for 2nd and 3rd. With Bruce Tigwell unfortunately not able to take any more time and gain that place, settling for 3rd place this weekend with just 4 seconds between the places. So that means coming out in 2nd place overall would be Oliver Arnold once again. Still some way off the pace of the eventual winner, but showing that he could hold his own and get the good result. This added to the result from round 1, looked like a good season ahead for Arnold. But that all means there is no change at the top, with even leader Chris Bird keeping hold of that lead and avoiding any further drama on the stage, to be able to drive out of the final run with the lead and make it 2 wins from 2 in the 2015 Brit-Part All-Wheel Drive Safari Championship. So the win here this weekend for Chris Bird confirmed, and it's 2nd place once again for Oliver Arnold. Plenty more battles throughout the results as well this weekend. So that brings us to the end of this programme. Join us next time for all of the action from the Brit-Part All-Wheel Drive Safari Championship right here on Special Stage. Next up, the championship heads to Minehead in Somerset for some more fast-paced off-road action, and hopefully you will be there too. If not, join us in August when we will bring you all of the action from rounds 3 and 4 of the championship. And in the meantime, check out our social media for more videos and news as the season goes on.